Good afternoon and welcome to Flat Earth United Kingdom. Joining me on this dismal afternoon is Martin. How are you doing, Martin?
I'm awesome. I am really awesome. Thanks, Nathan. I'm doing well. I'm feeling well. Thanks.
Excellent stuff. The main reason I wanted to fire this up was because of Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, Shaq's come out and said the Earth is flat, and he's immediately come under fire from flat earthers. And I'm pretty astonished, really. I thought it would be the best news ever. He's mainstream, and his proof is the same as my proof. You know, he's gone out, looked at the world, and it's flat. And what's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. That guy's heart must have been pounding as he was talking about it. Really. Think about it. The guy's mainstream. He said he knows the implications of what he just said. His heart must have been pounding. I don't think you'd necessarily say the names of websites or YouTube sites on a mainstream channel anyway. I don't think that's even a part of it. I don't even think that should be brought up. It didn't come into my mind. I've got to be honest. I was just excited that somebody of his stature had come out with it. All right, he's a Freemason. So what? I've worked with them. They're just normal people, bog standard. We know what type he is. He's not what they say. I don't think anyway. I don't believe any of what they say. I'm sorry, I'm getting hassled by the telephone here.
All right, no worries. I mean, the thing that annoyed me, and I left him a snotty message, was Flat Earth asshole. And he immediately said, why hasn't he acknowledged where he's found this out from? And the fact that the Earth is obviously and observably flat needs no acknowledgement to anybody. You know, it does my head in when people say that they should acknowledge the fact that they brought back the flat Earth or that they have, you know, brought people to this. No. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. There is a deception being perpetrated. Yes, we're all talking about it. But it always was and always will be flat. Nobody needs to acknowledge anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, I watched the video you're talking about, Jake Gibson's video yesterday. I don't usually watch him, but it was uploaded on a friend of mine, Doc's, the Doc site. Yeah, I watched it. I was a bit alarmed. I thought, oh, no. What are you thinking? I don't think of any. How can you relate somebody of that stature coming out with flat earth, mind, flat earth, nothing else, no, not Yetis, flat earth, and basically be ridiculed for it. I'm not ridiculed, but alarmist over it. I just don't think it's an issue. That guy wouldn't say, oh, well, watch Eric Dubay's 100 Clues. He's just not going to do that. You heard how it went. The guy who was blasting him, you know, oh, come on, you don't think the earth's flat? Yeah, I drove from one end to the other and it was flat. No, that's an analogy, a simple analogy. Why would you just naturally jump to there's no curve in water? Well, I might have, but that's not the point. The guy, he's probably his heart's pounding. He's thinking, right, I'm right in the limelight here. I'm right under the spotlight. Sorry, I've got to answer. Yeah, it's flat. Because obviously he can't lie. He can't say if he's a flat earther, that he believes it's flat, that it's a ball. That would be impossible. Because, as you know, you can never go back. Ever go back. We know this. So, intriguing. I did find intriguing what he was saying about said ice wall, because I've been thinking the same things. Although, 2 weeks ago, David Weiss put a link in chat, which I watched, which was an hour and a half documentary in Russian, where they said that they sailed around the said ice ring for X amount of months and couldn't find an entry in, which I found really intriguing. I thought that it correlated with, you know, what Cook had said about trying to find an entrance in. But I don't believe it's completely ice. I believe it's water. I believe it's land. And I believe there is waterways which you can sail straight through to other places. That's what I really do believe. Looking at the map of Monday shows exactly the same. All seaways through. It's no, continuous ice ring. So I think that part he said was pretty valid. The rest was pretty bogus and dumb. I've been really excited over Shakir. Did you see Russian video this morning? He posted that it was, you know him, Chappelle, the comedian, the one that went a bit berserk about the Illuminati a few years back, went off beaten and just come back. Yeah. Well, he done a little talk on the Late Show about flat Earth, and they talked about it coming out. He ridiculed it. He was like, I just don't see what's important. I don't get what's important about the shape. Now, this keeps coming up. I had this come up this week to me, Nathan, by a friend. What difference does it make? What? The fact that your whole life has been a lie about where you've been living? That's not important. And the deeper implications about wherever could we be, that's like really mind-blowing. But no, I thought Chappelle, that comedian guy, would have got it, especially after the way he performed about the Illuminati. And as you know, Martin Lawrence, he went a bit berserk, saying that they were coming to get him and waving his gun in the street, apparently. You know how the story goes. So, really intriguing times, Nathan. Exciting times as well.
Damage control, that was. I mean, he came up with the most nonsensical debunking ever by saying, oh, you can just go out and see a curve. It's like, no, you can't. That's complete nonsense. But for every sheep that's out there that's just listening in passing, they're going to hear that and go, oh, yeah, I've seen the curve out my window. My aunt did it 2 years ago when I first mentioned flat Earth to her. She said, I've seen the curve. I've seen it out of a plane window. It's like, no, there's plenty of statements that are prefaced with the fact that the world is flat from every observation, whether you're a heliocentrist or a flat earther. All of the surveyors deal with it as flat. You can't see it you can't see any curvature if you're in your plane. Everything we do and everything we experience is flat. And the fact that Shaq went on his own personal experience only, that needs to be commended. It's like he has taken his own observations.
I agree.
And Infinite Plane Society pointed out that earlier he had said about the moon being closer than California or a state that he wasn't in. It was some distance away. And he was saying, well, I can see the moon from here, from my vantage point. You think, no, this guy's using critical thinking. This is something else that Infinite Plane Society has highlighted. We should be praising this. It's proper mainstream coverage of our subject. And it's being damage controlled in what is quote unquote the comedy arena, but it's still mainstream coverage that's not Obama saying that we shouldn't pay any attention and bolstering the ridicule. Yes, when you've got a couple of comedians, Pinball from whatever that movie was, saying that it's nonsense. Yeah, that's it. The whole thing makes you think that we should be ridiculing it, but that's in the face of people coming out with a serious face on. You'll have to excuse me screaming, and saying the world's flat, and not going back on it, not saying no, I was just joking.
And coming out with a guy with a name like Flat Earth Arsehole. Just saying, arsehole. I know, it's not good. It's not good. Did you see? Oh God, my mind just went blank. Then I'm just. I was
going to say we've reached a point where we're 2 years, 3 years, however long some people 4 years into this. The ridiculous's got to stop. The infighting's got to stop. We're all just people. Even the low-level Freemasons. It's difficult to get it across to people where we are now coming through the other side of complete and total paranoia, having woken up to a massive deception. But pointing fingers at people who are only giving exposure to the subject we want to highlight, and then crying, "Give me credit, give me credit." It's like, no, this isn't right. The attacking people seems to slightly be subsiding, but it seems that in our community, we are turning blind eye to people's bad behaviour because they're flat earthers, saying, oh no, it's okay for them to do this and that because they give us good flat earth information. And I think it's just not fair.
No,
there are social standards that we should adhere to, whether or not they've come from the controlling elite or not. There are just decency, just having some decency to your fellow human being. And when you don't know people, when you haven't approached them, when you haven't confronted them with their what you consider to be a misdeed, it's totally unfair to declare them a shill, to declare them a psychopath, to declare them anything. It's totally unreasonable. And that's what we have in our arena still.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't. We should all grow up a little bit.
There is so much of it. And as you say, it's been going on for a couple of years now. You think that we would have woken up, with the global lie and everything, especially with what's going on with the infighting. It seems to be really, really sly as well. And, undercutting all the time, especially with, as you say, fingers pointing. Look, we need to deal with the reality here. Look, if you watch a Russian video, which I love, but it'll always say Freemasonry is the answer to all of our problems. Well, that can't be. I worked with a guy, Dave, who was a Freemason every day. He was moaning all the time, moaning all get. Who used to drink in the pub at the night, go home and work on his stone in his yard at the night. He was just a normal bloke. Knew nothing about probably the flat earth, or the apparently clandestine sort of operation to take over the world to keep us enslaved. But so people need to like deal with reality. You can't really, you know, shoot somebody down without actually talking to them on a human level and finding out what they're all about. Can you see what that's doing? No, we need to be more understanding as a people. We really do. We need to start opening our ears. We need to stop this bias that's been going on. We need to deal. We don't know where we are, and it's not a ball spinning space. That's the bottom line, isn't it? We know that basically there's an absence of curve. I know this. I was discussing it last night with my mother, and these things that I seen at sea constantly, Nathan. It just. I was thinking about it, laying there last night, thinking, Christ, this was constant. I was seeing these things this far away. You know, where's this fishing boat? You know, I can't see any fishing boat. A pair of good big binoculars. Oh, there it is. It's on the radar, see, 50 miles out. How can there be a curvature of a ball when I'm seeing things that far out? But nobody said a word about it. Really intrigued about that. But, you know, that's what brought me to the arena in the first place of Flat Earth. You know, the punching in my face reality that there's no curve. And then I look at a ball and think, oh, Jesus Christ, they're trying to say this water's sort of sticking on this spinning ball. No.
The how and the why of the deception. I mean, I've only just stumbled across this chap, Infinite Plane Society, who goes by the name of Tim Osmond, ironically. But he has started describing it as like the heads of a hydra and all the different things, because if you just try and blame it on one individual scapegoat, that's kind of how the system is set up and designed to carry on perpetrating the lie that we've been under for 2,000 years, not 500 years. You know, the 500-year-old lie of the globe is just a perpetuation of a much, much older control system. Now, he's getting all of this information out, which is wonderful. But at the same time, he's pointing at people like Mark Sargent and saying, essentially, they're controlled opposition, they're part of the problem, they're shills, because they're pushing and promoting a enclosed system. And you think, no, these are just people. The fact that they've drawn that conclusion could be one of two things. Either they've been led down that route by people who have set up these systems, which is perfectly understandable. You know, people are going to fall victim to narratives that are put into the structure as a whole. That doesn't make them control their opposition. Every one of the people who have come to the Flat Earth arena in the last couple of years have shilled for NASA at some point, have shilled for the globe. None of us are controlled opposition. We're just indoctrinated. And the fact that that continues through the realization of Flat Earth is no shock. It doesn't shock me that people are going to go with narratives that may be false, but to label them as shills, to label them as controlled opposition, no, Mark Sargent's a really good guy. The same goes for Patricia. Yeah, you know, I want to talk to this Infinite Plane guy. I really want to talk to him because I think his information, aside from his finger pointing, is excellent. You know, but when he's kind of literally got Patricia Steer inside a dome and saying she's a domer, she's pushing this narrative with this other person who's a Christian, you know, who's written a song. It's like, no, you know, number one, with the song, I would call it artistic license, regardless of your views. But number two, she's a Christian, and yes, you know, she might have fallen prey to a narrative that's another control system, but that doesn't need her to be demonized. It doesn't need Patricia to be demonized. It doesn't need Mark to be demonized. These people are putting out our message. Now you're saying, oh, well, it's taking people down a certain route. Well,
a year ago, I was saying, I think there's a dome, Nathan. A year ago, I was saying the same. I think there's a dome. You know, I was so innocent to the ways of Flat Earth. You know, I was just propagating anything that I heard on a video. Actually, that's true. Oh, we're a realm. Oh, no, we're you know, I went through it all. We all gone through it. But you're right. You're right. That video you're talking about, Nathan, I watched it. It's the only one I watched. I subbed and unsubbed the same day. First time I've ever done that.
Is this Infinite Plane Society?
Yeah, I thought he was a fundamentalist. I thought, oh God, what a crackpot. It's like, there's an infinite plane, that is it, nothing else is happening, or go away. How do you know? Have you been out there?
Hold on, Martin, I don't want to defend it by proxy, but ultimately speaking, he's using that as a sort of massive contrast to the dome, and he's trying to push the narrative that it's not globe versus flat, although he absolutely states the same as me. It's obviously an observably flat, whether you like it or not, but it's more closed or enclosed versus open. And by saying infinite plane, it's just sort of it's spitting in the face of people who say dome. But to me, it doesn't necessarily need him to metaphorically spit in the face of Patricia Steer and Amber Plaster and Mark Sargent, who are they've woken people up to this to take them on a path that, yeah, it might be controlled. That makes perfect sense. I mean, I'm just repeating myself, but, to approach people like that and say, well, this is how I see it, because I tried to challenge him in his chat and say, well, and this is off the back of your information, Martin, thank you for this, but about the shipping lanes, to say that even within, let's say there is an ice wall, let's be that controversial, because that's now a controversial topic. Is there or isn't there? I have no idea. I've never been there. That's the fact. That's the bottom line. Hey, Shaq, great. Say it like you see it, mate. I would agree with him. That's why I'm here praising him now. But in terms of the area, his narrative, what he's pushing, Infinite Plane Society, and I advise people to go and sub to him. I've spoken to Patricia, I've spoken to Mark, they've aired their grievances, and I've said, I'll talk to him about this. But his information is sound. The non-finger pointing, his history, how and why, a bit that I've been trying to tie in. When I did God bashing with Antonio Subrats, the reason for doing it was trying to explain the message that he's putting out now. This is part of a much bigger deception that's been going on for much longer. But back to my point, if we consider that we're in a dome and we've got an ice wall and we're trapped here, that doesn't mean that they can't hide land. There's loads of oceans, there's loads of space, and we're controlled in the directions that we travel. We've got shipping lanes, we've got routes that we have to stay within, we're controlled within our cars. It's getting there with GPS and autonomous cars. Eventually,
more than that, there's areas they don't want to get, Nathan. There's areas they won't touch. Do you know the Bermuda Triangle? All shipping lanes and flight routes avoid it. Still to this day. Also, the Devil's Triangle in the Yellow Sea. There's also one in the Pacific. They avoid these places. I got basically shunter or steamship charters up there from 1880, and they will show you all the world's routes, and everything avoids these triangles. They know there's some sort of magnetic anomaly. Now, I think these areas should be addressed. I think there's something to do with what's going on with the flat plane. I really, really, really do. I don't think it's a false
this is the council I'll address. I've never spoken about this publicly, but it annoyed me at the time, and I spoke to Bob Nodell about it. He did the show, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, specifically about the map and about the possibly being a tripole system and looking at exactly what you just described. And you have Eric DeBay in the comments saying, oh, shill this, and you're just trying to distract from the real truth that I'm putting out there, or words to that effect. And I was horrified. It's like these people are actually looking at real factual information, things that do exist. These aren't, made up stories. These aren't fantasies and aberrations. These things really exist. And we're looking at them now with different eyes. So to have somebody like Eric DeBay be closed to these ideas, to me, is an outrage. Now, I'm not trying to point fingers and exactly, totally hypocritical in the same show. But what I'm saying is it needs to come to an end. We need to work together, be understanding that people have different ideas and not necessarily say that they are controlled opposition or trying to deceive people, which they're not.
Is she okay, Nathan? I'm alarmed now. Is she okay there? Yeah, fine. No, agreed completely. I wish to God, if I had a wish, it would be that everybody in the FE would just pull together. Can you imagine what we could achieve if we all pulled together as one? Oh my God. And listen, I've done it. I've punched out, sort of biased theories where I think this is happening and that's happening. I don't do it so much these days, sort of matured my ways in the flat earth, and I don't think there's any point to, fanciful speculation. I really don't. So I'm sticking with what I know, what I can observe, and what I've discovered. I don't actually go back 500 years because basically I wasn't there. I don't know if any of the literature that's been handed to us can be trusted even. I don't. The oldest books I got are the early 1800s. I'd love to find something 1600 and see what it says in there, because the earlier back I'm going is telling a different story of the reality, and it changes as you get to the modern day. No, I know the lifestyles were different, but not that much different. It's only technology that come along that's changed our lifestyles. We were much better prepared years ago. We knew what to do if we needed to. We had the skills, the life skills necessary for living in today's, in society. They're gone. They've handed us this, where they'll hand whatever they can to you, the jobs, the lifestyle, your reality, and you'll play along with it regardless of whether you want to or not. And here's the map. You are all living on here. Every person, the people will never know the truth of what's going on. We have to find it out for ourselves. Some people may know the real story of what's going on, but we've only been presented with our map, so we have no reason to presume that there's nothing elsewhere. I believe there is. I believe they can hide stuff on this plane. I believe that there's actual seaways through this Antarctica, whatever it is my belief. And they're going through to other lands, because this technology has come from somewhere. You can't ignore that. Basically, look at the Nazis' technology in World War II. You can't ignore this technology. Nobody can. We went from basically horse and carriage to rockets in 40 years. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? And then we got all this technology. Some of the physicists, like Werner von Braun, Oberon, who were ex-SS, and then Operation Paperclip and the Manhattan Project, which made the bomb, they said they had help from other worlds. Now, obviously, it's not other worlds because there's no space as such. So is it other worlds laterally?
Well, of course,
we've
seen this, haven't we, Martin, with our own eyes. So we went to see the Mapper Monday. We've discussed this on many shows. So we go and we see the Mapper Monday, something that they parade around all the different countries, all the different counties, and say to the people, this is your world. This is why land is finite. We know where it all is. It's all mapped out in a nice circle, flat. That's absolutely how it was presented to them. The world was flat back then when they paraded around the Mapper Monday. And what's absent from the Mapper Monday? The new world, which, of course, knowing what we know now, they found going out. You know, they didn't go up. They didn't go up in a rocket. They just went out. Simple as that.
I think it's such a good point, Nathan. It really is, if you think about it. So that's the way they presented the map back in the 1300s and after that period. And they're doing exactly the same now. They're presenting the map to us, whatever. How do you feel about this? There's a bit of a controversy going on about the AE map at the moment, Nathan. Are you catching any of this? A couple of flat earthers have pulled up.
I have, basically, yes. And I mean, feel free to talk about it. It's something that I've not shied away from. I said a long time ago that it's not an accurate representation of our world, and you know the reasons are pretty much written on it in terms of the Gleasons.
Oh, exactly right. Yeah, and it's, you know, you can't exactly have that. If you can see the azimuth or the AE map that's in the background, well, that's the square and stationary Earth. Slightly different, but how can you have a map when you don't know what's missing? And we know from doing our sun tracking before, Nathan, that there is something, a shift. We thought it might be because we're going to need to shift all the maps to where this positioning of the moon has shifted, because at some stages, as you know, it was 10, 15 from what we're checking on SunCal in this position. So it's constantly out. But Nathan, I seen a post yesterday from a glober on YouTube called Skywatcher. Now, I catch his videos now and again. He seems to think, because they've noticed, the Globelins, that the sun's position has changed, and they're putting it down to the Earth's tilt has shifted more from its 666 tilt. So that's what he's putting out on YouTube. So the globe believers are also noticing the moon's position has shifted. So this is a definite. So why is that? Why is the moon's position not where it's supposed to be relative? Well, is it because we're checking it on Google Earth, and Google Earth is the map that they're showing us, the continents wrapped around the ball, which some people will say is bang on. Dr. Zach have come out and said that Google Earth is correct, and there's no more.
Yeah, and I would say absolutely not. It's not correct. You know, it's not. It's not correct. The sun, moon, and stars, Martin. Would you agree? Have done their thing forever. You know, we've got plenty of accurate trackings of the sun, moon, and stars, and they do their thing over and over and over again, like clockwork. What do we know for a fact has been distorted? The maps, not the sun, not the moon.
Yeah, exactly that. I know. Everybody knows it. You know, you can't find a map that's accurate. Not really. You can't exactly take a tape measure and go and whip it around Greenland to find out its size, for example, if Greenland is really what they say it is, which I don't know. Maybe they're checking it all out by saying it because Greenland is this massive body, when it's not really. Maybe it's something twice the size of Britain. All we know. We don't really know. You know, the biggest town there is a place called Nuuk, N-U-U-K, Nuuk, and its population is 15,000, the biggest town. And the rest of it is apparently a mile-high ice sort of mountain, which you need breathing apparatus to go on top of. On Greenland, they will let you know. But how do we know that's a reality? You're never going to fly over it. You're never going to see it. Do you know what, Nathan? They've said recently that they're going to start doing flights over the North Pole to Russia from America. So basically, we take off in Washington, fly over Canada, over the North Pole, and land in Moscow, cutting about 6 hours off the journey, they say. Now this, I've got to see.
I was going to say, they've been saying that for a while, actually.
Oh, yeah. But they've been saying a lot for a while, and like they've been saying they're going to go into Mars now, haven't they? Actually, they're going to send a probe to the sun next year, which costs, I don't know, say $1 trillion. And it's this probe they're going to send up in 2018 to the sun. Now, they say the sun's 93 million miles away. They're going to send it 3 million miles from the sun's corona surface. 3 million miles away. And they're trying to lead us to believe that this thing made on Earth is going to survive that sort of environment. How insane are they?
As flat earthers, we can make an honest list of things we know and things we don't know. And part of the list of things that we don't know are, what's the sun? What's the sky comprised of? What are the stars? We don't know what's below us. We don't know what's below 12 kilometers. So there's quite a long, substantial list of flat earth things that we have no idea about. What do we know? We know there's no curvature. We know we can't observe any movement of our Earth beneath us. This is pretty much it. I know we're flat and stationary. I can observe it, I can check it, I can test it. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not millions of videos of people doing this, right now. So in terms of what we've started this conversation with Shaq, there's many a person that said to me, unless the news told me that it was flat, I simply wouldn't believe it. Well, the fact is that the news is controlled. It's part of the elite control structure. Therefore, they're never going to tell you that it's flat. But we're crazy animals. We're going to do crazy things like Shaq's done and just state it outright on a TV station, whether the controlling director, the editor, the chief of the station likes it or not. It'll just come up in conversation because we've started to wake up to reality. The only thing I can say, like Validation Boy does dogmatically, is that it's obviously and observably flat, and all the globers admit it.
Yeah, there's no way out of that, and I agree. What I do know exactly is it's flat, and that's from my years at sea. The maps are all wrong and tainted. That's a definite. I feel that the history, I think I've picked enough apart. The inconsistencies with their stories, the history timeline is bullshit and handed to us. But we know that from the film 1984. This actually the guy's job is writing history in the Ministry of Love. He writes history. This is Winston's job. He goes home and watches it on his teleprompter, the history that he's actually made of the day. Here's the war hero, so and so. He just finds a random picture of a dead guy, put it up. This is how they work. Press. This is how they work. Reality. They everything is fed. These news channels, no matter which it is, it's America, it's Britain, BBC, CBS, Sky, Fox. They all run the same narrative. So anyone to come up with flat Earth in this sort of arena is an amazing thing. No, because it's flat. What are you talking about? Don't be silly. No, it is. It's flat. That's something else.
And it is. When I heard that, I was like, his proof's pretty much the same as my proof. My proof's always been the same. I've travelled all over the world, and every time I did, I'd go to the back of the plane, look out, and it'd be flat. Now, at the time, I was acutely aware of the fact that I couldn't see curvature, and I always thought, please, if only I could go higher, if only I could see the globe, because I was interested in it. I was watching science at NASA. I was interested in the subject, space. It's cool. I've got plenty of space videos. Now you discover that all that crap is just there to bolster the lie. That's the only purpose of it. And who's it coming from? It's coming from the same government-controlled people. It's coming from the same Universal Studios, and just pointing at one scapegoat, just pointing at the Jews, it's never going to get us anywhere. That's how it's set up. And what we do internally, pointing at each other, that's even worse. Destroying ourselves from within. We just need to unify about one single message that absolutely obliterates the current control system, which is to say the Earth is flat. It's not got any curvature. It's not moving. These are all things that we test. These are all things that if you're lazy, you can just go and look it up on 1,000 YouTube videos. It's not necessary to actually go out and do the experiments anymore. You can trust the individuals because there's so many of them doing it. You know, that's not to say that's not to say stop testing, but it is to say plenty of people have confirmed this now. Plenty of people are shouting it from the rooftops. Shaq is one of them, but Shaq's doing it down the barrel of a camera lens that's going out to millions of people who are going to go, what? Really? Right, I might look into this. I might type the words flat earth into a YouTube search engine and come across two, you know, fairly reasonable people, I would say, like you and I, Martin, you know, who are saying, yeah, it is absolutely flat. That's not an unreasonable thing to state. That's not a wild assertion. And as I tried to explain to the other Tim Osman, you know, you will admit it in your caveats. He says things like flat ball. He says that the surveyors take out C, curvature, because it's nominal. Yes, we do observe it as flat from our position, but that doesn't mean it is. It's like, so what they're all saying is the standard, the base point, where we begin is flat. So from there, well, okay, I've not made a single claim yet, not one. That's the standard that we all adhere to.
Just as it is.
From there, who's the burden of proof on? Well, it's on the globe. We've got these crap pictures, you know, crap maths, nonsense, lots and lots of nonsense, lots of fantasy and sci-fi. That's what we have as our proof. I don't need to provide any proof for the obvious, and I've come to this conclusion now in the last few weeks. Why do I need to prove the obvious if all the globers say that, yeah, we sort of take it as being flat anyway, but it is really a ball? It's like, well, okay, if you take it as flat to begin with, so do I. Where do we go from here? Well, you prove it's flat. I don't need to anymore. You've already accepted the flatness. Let's move forward with your proof that it's not flat, because that's what we all see. That's what we all deal with. And as Shaq found out, that's what he drives on up and down the States on a very flat plane.
Well, that's a really strange psychology thinking now. Actually, it's a flat. It is flat because we've seen the evidence for these years, but it's a ball. So what they're saying is we know it's flat, but we're still going to go with the mainstream narrative of it being a ball.
Yeah, and where it doesn't work, we'll just weasel our way out of it with a bit of maths.
With their bullshit.
Or say, well, it's just the way your vision works. You know, just using our own perspective tricks against us. And they've been doing it for hundreds, if not thousands of years with various different paradigms. And they just keep tarting them up. I mean, CERN, for me, is just taking the absolutely massive expanse out there, which they look at with gigantic telescopes, and focusing on the absolutely infinitesimally small to create a narrative. You know, if we come out with parallel dimensions from CERN, are you going to create a massive Hadron Collider to test what they say?
No. And they're the same people as NASA, aren't they? So they are real big liars.
Brian Cox banging the same drum from the same places while they've got the Shiva outside and all of their ritualistic nonsense that goes on, just the same. And ultimately speaking, we're as likely as to create a giant, you know, however many 50-foot array of cameras around a Hadron Collider as we are to send ourselves up in rockets. In other words, we're very, very, very limited in terms of what we can confirm from CERN. Now, there'll be 100 scientists who will leave comments below saying, well, they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing the other. And, you know, the skeptical empiricism that we are accused of is like, no, all I'm doing is taking what I can take as read. And if the people who are telling me that this in the sky proves this and that, and it's been debunked, they lose all credibility for me. And when Brian Cox says, yes, it is a ball, and you find out it isn't, it's like, why would I take a word that you have to say about CERN seriously? I'm not going to.
No, I agree. I've seen, did you see a video with Brian Cox yesterday when he was in that NASA vacuum chamber? Did you catch that video at all? Well, he's in this, it's this, they got 800,000 cubic feet of air in this vacuum chamber. So it's just short of 1 million cubic feet. It's huge. And they pumped all the air out and they did the test of a feather and a cannonball being dropped in apparently a vacuum chamber. So there's no air. So there's no air resistance. And they drop them and they both land at the same time.
Yeah, I saw someone pull it apart in terms of the photography, saying that they're taking a still image and then basically put the still image falling because presumably they haven't got the shot. I mean, it's like anything. It's on TV, therefore it's open to.
And they're saying,
Martin, the thing is with the vacuum, and this only occurred to me when I was talking to Jem Panda. It's a straw man. It's a straw man argument that they create with something in the sky that we can never test, so that they can say, oh, your system that you've devised, your model, doesn't work because of this vacuum next to a non-vacuum. And it's just a straw man argument that they use to debunk something that only exists in the heliocentric world. It's a nonsense.
No, I agree. No, there was something wrong with that video. I watched the end twice because they kept saying they landed at the same time. They landed at the same time, and they said it a dozen times. I thought, Christ, you really want to, stamp that point home? So there was something really, really
when did
wrong.
he do that last? When he went up in the what's the plane called? Blackbird or something? Very, very high altitude plane. And the moment he got off the plane, what can you remember what he said? The moment he stepped off the plane?
Yeah, I seen the curvature. First words out of his mouth.
I seen the curvature. That's exactly it. The moment he stepped out, the narrative that's being perpetuated is the first thing that comes out of his mouth.
Not, oh my God, I nearly died. Oh my God, that was the most amazing thing I've ever been through. The speed was phenomenal. None of that. Just, yeah, I seen the curvature. Like he hasn't been told, but it's in the script that he's reading anyway, and it's all read. And the guy, what's his name off Top Gear, James May. He said exactly the same. But the problem is he only went up in a jet. So that's 40,000 foot. And apparently it says on Google Earth, you can't even see the curvature at 40,000 foot. So that was a lie. Not that he's seen it, and not that you can. Not that Google are telling the truth anyway.
Did you see when they put James May in the pressure suit? That was in the last few weeks. They put him in one of NASA's suits. It nearly killed him.
Yeah, no, I've seen. It's just ridiculous. He couldn't move. He said he was alarmed. He's like, they keep your arms like this, and the pressure on your skin is absolutely horrendous. Apparently, he couldn't stand it. No, so that's bullshit. That is bullshit. But we've seen these suits, Nathan. They're made of canvas material. They're layered, and they got like layers of apparently aluminium and what have you. But no, these things are made of material, canvas on the outside, and they reckon they survive in, as you say, a vacuum of space. That's only their word for it. I don't believe that either. I don't believe any of it.
We saw some of the casual wear that they had at the Space Centre, and one of them looked like a crocheted nappy, and one of them looked like Superman. And they'd literally got the guy posed like Superman, flying through the air with his, with his blue all-in-one jumpsuit thing. And you're like, this is just such an outrage. It's just a total insult what they're doing. Same thing goes for the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. What a complete and total insult. When you look back when Jaron did that video about the moon landing, debunking it, and he shows the giant scale model of the moon with the camera tracks around it.
Yeah.
It's like they're literally showing you how they did it. And they're doing it today with the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. They show you, it's right in your face how they do it. And they're just laughing at us.
Like it don't exist. I know. Bubbles. I can actually see, I got a load of NASA photographs and basically about 1,700. I've been picking through them. And literally outside the windows, I'm gonna have to get these online so people can see them. You can see that it's water. It's literally got a tinted blue and it's got bubbles. And the way the water would react on a porthole on a ship when you're underwater is exactly the way their windows look. I've seen it 1,000 times. I thought, oh my God, that's a porthole. They're underwater. That's exactly what you see. I was expecting a fish to go past, but it was in a moon pool.
The other thing I noticed when Jaron did that video was that most of the footage when they're doing their experiments, you can really hear the engines on the old footage. I mean, it's clearly done in a jet plane. They're doing it with the parabolic maneuvers. And it's just so obvious because you can hear it.
Plus, these clips are never more than an X amount of time. And you can see they're preparing for the parabolic maneuver. So they can do these couple of little movements that they do, apparently with zero G, which, look, they haven't done it. Look what Richard Branson made the vomit comet, didn't he? And it blew up. And he has not persevered, and he's not going ahead with it. Do you know why? Because I don't think he wants to waste any more money on space fakery. He's pulled right out. Now Elon Musk has taken the reins with the space, with the exploration of space with his rocket that apparently lands, and he's took that film straight out of Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds, I go. This rocket lands, Nathan. It really does land. Honestly.
You're not wrong there. The connection between that and Thunderbirds, you're not wrong with that connection. You're saying it in irony, but it's not. That is the predictive programming for what we're now seeing. I saw that as a child. That memory is being seeded in my mind. And in today's generation, I watched a film with my child a couple of nights ago called Inside Out, Disney movie, Pixar. And there's a scene in it where there's the imaginary friend called Bing Bong, and they push his rocket sled into the pit of memory dump, they call it, where the memories all get forgotten and lost. And as he's chasing the bulldozer pushing his rocket sled into this pit, he says, "You can't take my rocket. Me and the main character, we're going to fly to the moon on it." And you're like, what an insult. The imaginary friend is pre-programming our kids with the idea that they can fly to the moon, but on what? An imaginary, rocket powered by, sunshine and dreams and laughter. Just
by dreams.
Well, it's powered by song, but just an insult. It's the imaginary friend that's convincing the kid he can fly to the moon or she can fly to the moon. You're like, it's only watching this sort of stuff now that you go, oh, what an insult. There's a moon mention, and what's it in reference to? Well, it's convincing us we can travel to it for a start, but it's the imaginary friend convincing her that they can.
But they do it all the time, especially now. They're doing it all the time. I watched a film a couple of nights ago. They talked about the flat Earth. It was literally Batman and Superman. I had to have a little nose. I haven't watched a film in a long, long time. But there's this scene. It's 10 minutes long where he's on the top of a mountain and Kevin Costner's there, who's his father, and he's building a little tower of rocks. And he talks to him about, I'm on top of the mountain. All below us is the flat plain. The flat plain as far as you can see. And he's just talking about the fact that they're up here and there's a flat plain below for 10 minutes of the movie. And then he's like sort of wakes up out of this sort of, he's talking to an empty space, this ghost. His father's not really there, and it ends. And I thought, well, what a waste of 10 fucking minutes of a massive grossing movie. And why did they put that in for that alone? And it happened a couple of weeks back. I watched a horror film with my mother called Conjuring, and it was set in 1969. And the whole film, right, they had kids sat in front of a television and they were playing the moon landings. The whole film was emphasized on the moon landings. In a horror film, why? Why? They're doing it. Predictive programming is ridiculous. And we've been.
There you go. I was hoping you'd say the words. But yeah, predictively programming is with these ideas. And they're doing it currently with the moon. It might be that the old moon landings get exposed because they're just falling to pieces at the seams, it would seem. So yeah, it may be that there's a contingency plan in case people figure out that the moon landings are a hoax. And in the case of it, they'll just start in the next generation convincing them again that they can go.
Okay then, Nathan. Oh God almighty. Excuse us out there in YouTubia land. I suppose there might be a chat for this show. Let's go and investigate and see if you were all there. Yeah, it's an exciting time. I was really excited. I had a little went in a hangout with James, who is Flat Earth Addict. And we talked about the exciting times that we're in, especially with Shaq. Yes, there's 78 people there, Nathan. I'm going to talk to see who's there and visit.
People. Got my little kid stop her from crying. Very unprofessional.
Oh, God love her. There you are. Everyone's in chat. Fanny Lancer, Stephen, owner. Stephen just expelled Mr. Stephen Christ. Yes, Dodgy Darker, I do love my maps. I am a mappy person, and I have a feel for them. I don't know why. Hey, Zoe. Good morning to you. And the Jonathan Roberts. And Boyaka. Boyaka. What's that? Another $500 million per year for NASA, and I don't know why. Yeah, I've seen the signing of the of Trumpski signing the extra amount of money. You're on mute there, Nathan. If you were talking, what do you think you were? Peace, Billy Sunday. Yes, we thought we'd just crank up and address these issues that are coming to the Flat Earth Forum at the moment. I think it's an absolutely fabulous thing. These people are coming out into the mainstream because you think about the implications, guys. You think if everyone starts waking up across the plain, which I think is a reality, If everyone starts talking about this in the mainstream and people on buses and people on the way to work, you know what? People are actually thinking the Earth's flat. No, I've been looking into it on YouTube. It's actually looking like it is, And do you know what? I think it is because I've never seen a curve and it looks flat to me. And yeah, it makes perfect sense to what they're saying. So this is coming, guys. This is coming. I know it is. 2017 could be the year. Very exciting times. What will it mean for reality? Ooh, I don't know. That is the thought, isn't it? How the transition period would be, because there's a lot of ugly people out there, but hopefully we'll deal with them. Vegan, I don't know if it's that sort of show, because I tell you why. I've got finite amount of time, and I got to bounce because I'm being threatened to death by my other half, who's needing help because she's disabled and she can't walk. One love, a vet. Let's go see if Nathan's about. Nope, he's not. He's seen to his lovely baby Eleanor. So yeah, we just thought we'd crank up quick on a Wednesday morning. Today is the 22nd of March, so that's on Skull and Crossbones 322, and I've looked what it means, and apparently it's a day of magic. Apparently a day that they use on their calendar for doing bad deeds. So let's be on our guard. If any of that's true, it might be. I don't know. I have no evidence of it. It's me listening to other people again. I do a lot of listening to other people, guys. We all do this, don't we? In fact, everything that I've learned is from other people. I do independent thought, guys. I do think things for myself, and I get my own theories going, and I try to see if there's any reality to my theory. And sometimes I stumble upon things. Sometimes I do, and I think, oh Christ, that's a definite. That's true. This is happening. So this happens. Okay, hiya, Jovan. God love you, brother. In fact, God love you all. Today, it says on my band there, so it must be true. God bless the world. Here we are. God bless the world. How about that, guys? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to God bless the world. Good intention for the future. Good intentions for the flat earthers. Knowledge scavengers speaking German. I don't speak into Deutsch myself. What's that? I wonder if I have two watches because you're different. No, I haven't got two watches, John. They're all just dangly things. I only noticed that I had them on last night. My subconscious has put them on, and I haven't actually noticed that they're there until like yesterday. I didn't know they were there. I'm like, shit, I got stuff on my wrist. Where did they come from? And I sort of sat and thought about it. Really strange, but that is me. So it's understandable. 9. I have got enthusiasm. I've got a fire burning inside me, and it's because I think that, like, I always had a suspicion all my life that something would happen like this. Not exactly the flat Earth, but I've had a sneaky suspicion that something was afoot with my life because I've had a life less ordinary. And it's been a really strange time. I mean, before the flat Earth, I was building up to this. There was no way I was not going to stumble upon this, and I fit the flat Earth like a glove. I really do. The type of person I am, the background I have, been looking into all of this stuff since I was about 8-year-old, I suppose, 7-year-old, with my UFO books, and I've spent most of my life thinking about paranormal things, but not so much paranormal because it scares some shit out of me. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to things like spooky stuff. But yeah, they wear a watch on each arm, as Masons do. They do. It's the duality thing going on, you know, like a checkerboard floor. They do like their duality. We know how it works. We've all looked into it. We're all flat earthers. It's not something that a road I really go down much. I do like the esoteric angles. As you know, left-hand path picks apart the reality of the esoteric beliefs. Obviously, occult means hidden knowledge. They're using because it's hidden, and obviously, if they're secret societies, that means they have secrets. That means they have hidden knowledge. So, what hidden knowledge are they using? I've got a phone call. Oh dear, that's for me. That is. Right. I can't answer either.
It's a daytime show, Martin. We're going to be interrupted. You're on a bit of a roll there, though. So.
I am on a bit of a roll, but I've been badgered to death. This phone's going off. That one's going off. It's the wife. She's giving me a bullet against the brain time. I was supposed to help her because she can't walk. And I got to do things.
Do you need to get off, mate? Because we'll round out this
I do. I got to go and help, but she can't walk, and she's hassling me to death. She literally can't walk. She's gone a bit can't walky. I don't know. disabled. See.
Right, fair enough. We'll round it out there, mate. It's been an impromptu chit chat, and it's been absolutely lovely chatting to you. So a big thank you to you, Martin, for coming on and having a chat with me about Shaquille O'Neal. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, a big thank you to you for these as well. Thank you, mate. They're really, really sweet.
Oh, you like your headphones?
I bet. Yeah, man. Nathan sent me these guys because he had them hanging around the house and he was taking pity on my pitiful hangouts. But now, listen to me, guys. I'm rocking now. Thanks, Nathan.
Glad.
All right, God bless. Have a good day with
pop yourself on mute, Matt. I'll just say a big thank you to all of the people who've joined us.
All right, guys. See you later.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on this impromptu chat. All of you who've joined us in chat, thank you very much. If you can like, share, and subscribe, it'd be very much appreciated. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.